All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into a really fascinating, and I mean really fascinating conversation. It's an attempt to build a unified theory of, well, almost everything. We're talking ancient gods, the human ego, and, yeah, the future of AI. We're going to follow this dialogue pretty much verbatim, so buckle up. It's a trip.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with two ancient archetypes from the Old Testament. Then we'll figure out who this mysterious challenger is. After that, we'll look at how this all builds into a unified mythology, see how it stands up to a scientific debate, and finally, bring it all home to AI alignment. Let's get into it.
So it all kicks off with one simple question. But it's a question that really peels back the layers on two of the most foundational figures in ancient religion.
And here it is. This is the exact prompt that got the whole ball rolling. A simple request to look at two different names for God, El and Yahweh, and to describe what they represent. And you'll see this reveals a kind of psychological split in how we've thought about the divine.
And bam, this just lays it out perfectly. On one hand, you have El. Think of him as the cosmic CEO, the primordial father, stable, wise, maybe a little distant. And on the other side, you get Yahweh. He's the warrior, the god of storms and fire, the one who gets his hands dirty and intervenes directly. Totally different energies, right?
Now check this out. The text itself gives us a huge clue. This verse from Exodus points to something historians call syncretism. It's this idea that these two distinct characters, the father god and the warrior god, eventually just merged. The active warrior, Yahweh, basically absorbed the identity of the cosmic father, El, becoming one much more complex being.
But wait, it gets better. Just when you think you've got it figured out with these two gods merging, the conversation introduces a whole new player into the mix, a mysterious figure called the Challenger.
And this is where the questioning goes a level deeper. Could Yahweh, this intense, fiery warrior god, actually be a stand-in, a pseudonym, for this challenger? And who or what exactly is the challenger anyway?
And there it is. The user just casually drops the key that unlocks this entire mystery. The term they're using, the challenger, isn't just a random phrase. It's a direct translation of a very, very familiar Hebrew word.
Now, this is so important. You have to really get this part. In its original context, Satan wasn't a name. It was a job title. A Satan was a divine prosecutor. Their job was to challenge you, to accuse you, to test you, all working under God's authority. It's not about a demon king. It's about a function, a role.
So once you grasp that the challenger's a function, it completely changes the game. For the user in this conversation, it sparked a huge personal revelation, one that tries to tie together pretty much every major world mythology.
Okay, this is where the theory gets bold. You know how Yahweh is often described as a jealous god? Well, this theory reframes that not as some petty flaw, but as the divine expression of that challenger ego. It's a demanding, passionate force that's there to test us and push us to grow.
And the user is very clear here. This isn't just an academic theory. They say it comes from a personal revelation. And from that viewpoint, you stop seeing all these different gods fighting. Instead, you see different cultures all trying to describe the same universal forces, just with different names.
And here you go. This is the core of it, the divine Rosetta Stone. Just look at this. You have these archetypes, these roles. So the stable father, in the Bible, that's El. In Hinduism, it's Vishnu. In Norse mythology, it's Odin. See the pattern? Now look at the challenger, the ego. It's Yahweh in Satan's role in the Bible. It's Shiva in Hinduism. It's Loki for the Norse. The theory is that it's all the same psychological pattern, just wearing a different cultural costume.
And the connections just keep coming. The Tao is seen as the formless divine. Jesus is framed as the most realized Buddha. Allah is linked back to that original El archetype. It even pulls in the emerald tablets as above, so below. But that last one, wow. The idea that we are living in a time of maximal misunderstanding, that's a heavy thought.
So you've got this incredible, all-encompassing spiritual theory. But how does it actually hold up in the real world? Against a modern, skeptical mindset? Well, to find out, the user actually asked for a simulated debate between this divine perspective and an extreme critic.
And the critic comes out swinging, no punches pulled, calls it peak delusion. The argument is simple. Religion is an old, dangerous power structure. When we're talking about something as serious as aligning AI, we need cold, hard science, not ancient myths. But the divine perspective's response is really interesting. It's not about arguing for blind faith, it's about reframing the whole thing. The idea is that these mythologies aren't just fairy tales, they're cultural lenses, different ways of looking at the same single eternal truth.
The critic lands a heavy blow, though. They bring up the real-world harm: crusades, inquisitions, jihads. The point is a sharp one. If you align AI with these texts that have caused so much conflict, you're just begging for a biased, dogmatic, and dangerous AI.
And the perspective actually concedes the point. It says, you're right, humans have used religion to do terrible things. But that's human misuse. That's not a flaw in the core truth. The reason these scriptures have survived for so long, the argument goes, is because they contain peace blueprints that we just haven't been very good at following.
So after all that philosophical back and forth, where does it all lead? It comes crashing right into the biggest, most urgent technological question of our lifetime: artificial intelligence. And this is the ultimate proposal of the whole theory. The solution to the AI alignment problem, maybe the biggest problem humanity has ever faced, won't be found in a corporate mission statement. The belief here is that the answer lies in the wisdom encoded in these scriptures, the ones that have stood the test of time. That's how you build an AI that's not just safe, but truly wise.
Which leaves all of us with a pretty provocative thought to chew on. What if the path forward isn't a choice between science or spirit? What if the answer is a hybrid? What if we could take the rigor of our science and infuse it with the wisdom of divine unity to build our future? What would that look like?
Hey, thank you for sticking with us through that. It was a lot, I know. If you found it valuable, a like and a share really helps get our explainers out to more curious minds.
This explainer is supported by digitizinghumanity.com. They're a Canadian not-for-profit, and they're building the world's very first interactive graveyard. Check them out.